Rev up your engines!
Omar says, Scotty, my AC has a leak somewhere in the system. Will a stop leak product work to fix it? I never advise using stop leaks in air conditioning systems for one main reason. They have very tight tolerances. And if you put a stop leak in, I have seen the AC compressors lock up. And I had one customer a few years back. They put it in their Mercedes. Now, the problem with their Mercedes was it was leaking inside the dash. And to take the dash apart on this particular Mercedes was like an $1,800 job. So he thought, I'll put a stop leak in. Well, he put it in, and it stopped up the expansion valve that's inside the dash. Then he had to take the dash apart to fix it because it didn't work at all because the expansion valve got stuck shut. An expansion valve is a little needle, and it goes up and down. And when that thing gets stuck in that little hole, boom, it's the end. So I don't advise using sealers in air conditioning systems at all. Now, some of the sealers for cooling systems, they're okay. They got reasonably big gaps, and some of those can work okay in a clean coolant. But for an air conditioning system, don't mess around with sealers, really. Marauder Wolf says, Scotty, is it okay to block the EGR? Pros and cons. The only thing the EGR valve is made is to stop pollution that comes out of your tailpipe, which is a pollutant. It's actually cancerous. When I was a kid, cars didn't have EGR valves, and when they first came out, they didn't work all that well. So a lot of guys did block them up. And of course, the car will actually run better without it. But you're breaking federal law, your car's going to pollute more. That's the reason that they're in there. Now, the thing about EGR valves is a lot of modern cars, they don't even have them because the computer control of ignition systems, of fuel injection systems, they're all so good now that they can do it themselves without an EGR valve. So a lot of modern cars don't even have them anymore. David Chavez says, hey, Scotty, what's your thoughts on the 2013 Subaru Impreza for $10,000? Subarus can be good cars where it snows. They've always had a history of weak automatic transmissions. If you're going to get a Subaru, get a standard transmission. The customers that I have with Subaru with standard transmission, some of them have 200,000-300,000 miles of relatively trouble-free driving. They're well made. There's nothing wrong with them. Their automatic transmissions are weak. I rented one a year ago, brand new one. Well, brand new. It had 14,000 miles on it. And it was an automatic transmission, and it already started to shift weird when we were driving around Utah when we rented it once we got off the plane. So I'm not impressed by their automatic transmissions at all. Gonzo59 says, what can cause my speedometer to read 15 miles an hour faster than it's going in a 95 Chevy truck? Well, if you put the wrong size wheels on it, it can give you a bad reading. And that's what happens all the time. A lot of guys don't realize it's going to do a lot of things. A lot of times, as they age, things wear, or someone mistakenly, I don't know if you probably didn't own it since new, put the wrong speedometer gear inside the transmission. And if you have one that have different teeth, it's going to give a different reading. So if it has the stock size tires, check that. The sensor could have the wrong size speedometer gear on it. I've seen that happen. Now, especially if you're not the original owner and it's been messed with, you'd have no idea what anybody's done to it. And I've seen people go to a store and it's not their fault. Somebody sells them the wrong one and they put it in and then they say, oh, well, it's working, it's off. I don't care. I'll just remember. Vincent S. says, my power steering makes a cranking noise when the steering is all the way turned. Any idea what could be wrong? Is it the fluid that's bad? Well, you can check the fluid, see if it's low or anything, but generally it's not that. If it only does it when you get to the edges, as far as you go, and you did say turning it all the way, then it's generally a slightly worn suspension part somewhere, tie rod, or bad ball joint. When you turn it all the way, it's pushing as hard as it can at the edge, and it'll make a noise. Or if something like your strut mount is worn, when you turn it all the way, could be it gets to the edge and then it makes a clank. So jack it up and check for any worn parts on the suspension first. Oh, Oof says, Scotty, my interior light flashes sometimes when I hit bumps. What could be the problem? If you hit bumps and the lights start to flash, generally it's an electrical short somewhere. If you're talking about the light isn't even on and then you hit bumps and it comes on, check all the door switches because one of them is probably breaking down, and when it hits a bump, it's closing the circuit and making power go and making the lights go on. Now, if you're talking about your dash lights that you hit bumps and then they start flashing on and off, then you got a short in the dash wiring somewhere. On those, there's a lot of little tiny wires on those connectors that plug into the dash. Take it apart, see if any of them are corroded or loose, or if the ground wire has gone bad. That will often happen if it's the inside lights in the dash that are doing it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.